Alright guys, it's 1:30. This is now Thursday. I had a meeting at work. Just got home not that long ago. Dad actually came over. He had to get the tedder anyways. So he went ahead and tedded. Oh, that's dried very well. Yesterday afternoon I came out here and checked it, and oh my gosh, I didn't think it was going to be even close to baling. But I actually think... Now, is it completely bone dry? No. But I think it's going to bale. So... Dad actually tedded before he took the tedder back home with him, which I think really helped me, even though it's only been tedded for a couple hours, but that's another couple hours that some fresh stuff got put on top and got some drying. You can kind of tell by the sound of it, it's sounding pretty good. Again, there is still some stem moisture, so I may end up putting a little bit of preservative on some of this, but that would be mainly as a precaution. If I thought it was going to bowl, I wouldn't bale it at all. So I've got the rake hooked up. We're back here. Yeah, see, hold on. So this area right here is actually green. Now it's not like sopping wet green. I don't know if you guys can tell the difference between this that's been on top. This here I just grabbed and kind of threw on top here. Like I said, it's not sopping wet, but it's not dry. It's really not, that there's not quite ready to bale. But this is some thick hay, and there's just not room for everything to sit on top. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to go ahead and rake. And I'm not raking everything because I can't get everything baled today anyways. So I'm going to rake this field and the back. The stuff that I cut the first day, I'm going to rake that. Hoping I can get it baled today before it starts getting too late. The Deutz 6150 and the Gehl, I think it's a 510. It's a 10-wheel V rake. We're gonna get the bale, or get raking. I'll try to get a little bit of footage for you guys since I don't have the kids here with me. And wish me luck. Tried to jump the windrow, but didn't make it. All right, guys. This is what about 6 acres, 6.5 acres of first cutting straight orchard grass looks like, all braked up, almost ready to bale. A little bit more drying in the windrow here. We're gonna go back to the back field and we're gonna rake that. All right, guys, got everything raked back here. Everything done. Got some cute little windrows there. Hey guys, got the rake unhooked, got the stacker hooked up. Not completely, I gotta put the loader control up there, but it's pinned on and PTO's hooked up. And now I am going to go ahead and fill my preservative tank. That way, if and when I need it, I don't have to stop baling, come back up here, top it back off. It'll already be topped off, ready to go. Just flip a switch and But the baler is still hooked up from last cutting from this other little field. Tractor is ready to go. It's I don't know, probably 320. So I'd like to be baling for sure by 4. So I'm gonna do that. Top the applicator or the preservative off. I'll go ahead. I need to put a little engine oil in the white so the round baler will be ready. And I think what I'm gonna do, my plan, is hopefully in that 2 hours I can get the east field baled and the good hay that I'm square baling in the back baled. If I can get that done before it's too late, I'm going to run up here, we're going to get the round baler, jump on it, and we're going to round bale the other stuff. And hopefully by the end of the day, all the east field will be baled, all the back, everything I have in the back will be baled. And then if I can have, I don't know, 3 or 4 loads with the stacker picked up out of the field and up here, I can go ahead and be stacking those in the barn after it's dark. And then tomorrow morning I'll flip the bales, let them dry out in the field. We'll go ahead and pick that up before we even start baling tomorrow. So by the time we bale, the neighbors across the road, hopefully everything here on me that I have cut will be picked up out of the field. Now it won't all necessarily be in the barn yet, but we're filling the preservative tank on the baler, as you can see here. It wasn't empty, but I just want to go ahead and top it off so it's there. The way that I set it up, I've got several valves and bypass lines in here where my pump is. And so basically, I am able to valve it to where I'm sucking from my barrel here and returning to the tank. And that allows me to actually fill itself using the pump on the baler. And then whenever I get done, I'll take this piece of hose that I got stuck in the tank here, I'll take it off, connect it to that other hose there. And it's just valved off, so that's not really flowing anything there. And then I'll open up the valve from the pump to the tank. I'll close off the valve I'm using to suck from here, and then I'll close off my return a little bit. And that's how I actually adjust the spray at my nozzle and my pressure as well. So, just a little, thought you guys might find that a little interesting there. Alright guys, so square baler's ready, I believe. I'll have to adjust. I haven't set the pressure or anything on this yet. But this valve right here, my finger's touching, is the return. So to turn the pressure up, I shut this valve off, and to turn the pressure down, I open it up. So I'm always returning some flow back to the tank. And then depending on how much I close that return off is how much it pushes to the nozzles. And then right here is my pressure gauge that I can see from the tractor. And based off of what nozzle I'm running, that tells me what the flow is based off of what the pressure is. These nozzles are spring closed and they won't open until you get to 15 psi. So 15 is the minimum you can run with these. I usually run 15 to 20 depending on, you know, if it's really green, I've got a lot of hay, I want to run more. If it's not real green and it's pretty thin, then I want to run it less. So I have this nozzle here, and I also have another nozzle up here that sprays right into the throat as it's going into the bale chamber. All right, I'm gonna get me a drink, wash the preservative off my hands, and then we're gonna go try punching out some bales and see what we can get done. All right guys, moment of truth. Heading to the field. It's 10 after 4. Hold it. That's just software version. And then it'll probably display low because I cleaned the chamber out, so there's nothing in there. Hold on. Yeah, low. All right, let's roll. Here we go. New Holland 326 and Oliver 1650 diesel. It's a pretty good pair. I wouldn't want to go any smaller than the Oliver. I baled with the little Deutz before, and it'll do it. Absolutely. But the performance of the baler is significantly less as far as capacity and how well it makes a bale and everything when you're in really heavy hay, which I have a lot of heavy hay. So it didn't do well. If it was super thin, like fourth cutting, it would be a lot better. But I know square bales really don't take that much horsepower, but if you short them, you can tell in the performance. Alright guys, so we got the chute down, the baler's opened up, the pickup reel is down, I got my counter reset, I got my bale length where I want it. We're going to start the PTO up now. Let her get the building pressure. Start in right here, try to bale this one here, and then jump in about the third or fourth one from the woods where I know it's dry. We're going to start baling over there and work our way this way. And because I lose my sunshine over here first, so it'll start getting damp first. Alright guys, we're running about 9 to 11. Highest I saw was I think 12.2. So that's really good. Typically if that thing gets up to about 15, it's getting touchy, getting close. And if it's up around 18, it's definitely, if you're not putting preservative on it, you're going to be paying the price. We baled 12 bales there, so let's check these things out. So when I check them, I'm checking for weight, how tight they are, how green they are, how long they are, and the length. It really doesn't change that often, but so they're pretty good and square. So I checked it, that one there is perfect. So you tighten it, the way you make a bale tighter is you increase the pressure, or if you have a crank, you crank it down and you're squeezing that chamber, and it's making it harder to push hay through. When it's harder to push the hay through, it takes more hay to push it through, and it packs it a lot tighter. Then whenever it comes out and it expands, there's a lot more hay in the same amount of space. Basically, is how it works. And whenever I look, see, these bales are a little bit longer just because of how thick this hay is. I may shorten them up, but look how big these flakes are. So these last two flakes here, that there is one flake. That's a flake, that's a flake. Now, flake, 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 flake. So there's some thinner stuff right in that bottom area there. But then I ended with some really thick stuff. So, but the tension, you can lighten a bale by making it looser, but you can't make it too loose. If you make it too loose, it's hard to handle. They'll tear up. People don't want one that's hard to handle. And I'm handling with a stacker mechanically. So if it's loose, the stacker does not like it at all. It'll tear them up, the stack won't stand. It's just not a good thing. So we got to pack them tight. Man, I can't believe this hay is freaking perfect, guys. I don't think I'm gonna have to use any preservative. These bales are all perfect. Dang, I'm happy. Let's roll, man. Let's roll while the rolling's good. All right, guys, so I broke a string. I knew it would happen. I got some wear on my needles. And what happens is, anywhere I switch anywhere I switch over to a new bundle, that knot won't go through the groove in the needles. And so it just breaks the string. So that's what's happened here. So I missed one bale there. I got another bale here. I got one bale further in there. So that's 3 bales. Then I'm gonna have to retie it to restring it. That'll be 4. I'll have to subtract from my total count. So it's again there. We'll pull this string out of there so we can not have it in the hay. I'll have to cut it. Hold on. Well, you'll see I don't have any twine on the left side here. So what I've done is I pulled it back through. You can see where it broke it at the knot. Pulled it back through the needle. Now what we'll do is we'll trip this. Now it's fed back into there. Now this one here is like a short bale. And I'll have to pull this out. So there's the other end of that. Now we're fed into, you can see that twine there. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut this piece of string off there, get that cleaned up. That'll be 4 extra bales on our counter. I'll have to subtract at the end, and I did miss one over there when the other string switched. I have both strings switched over, so we're good for another 900 bales. One other thing I do have the hydraulic tension, and I run my side doors all the way in, and then I just lower my pressure. Rather than, I mean, some people, you could run them out more and up your pressure, but this way here, it takes a little bit of load off of my cylinder, less heat. This is just easy to do down here. So right now I'm running at 220 PSI right now. And we're perfect. We're running about 9 to 10, 11 percent on our moisture. Again, that's not necessarily exactly what it is, but we're dry. Alright guys, let's check this out. It's amazing. This is the thickest half bale off this field for sure. Yeah, 155 bales. I just want to make sure I'm not punching out some super light or super heavy bales. Oh, I think they're freaking perfect. Holy crap. I'm just amazed at how perfectly dry it is. That never happens, especially when it's as thick as it is, and we've had all this rain. The ground is still moist. Ah, sounds good. So here's our windrows. They're behemoths. Look how close the bales are down through there. Stuff like this where when you bale the end, you got a ton of bales down here and you got to try to dodge them when you go to turn. So like I got this one here right in the middle of the windrow because that's just where it fell. So I'm going to move this one out of the way. I'm going to bale this clump here. I'm going to roll all these here over here. That'll get us clear so we can turn on the ends here. All right, I'm gonna get a little footage of baling off the tractor. Got my tripod. I don't think people understand the extra time it takes to get some different shots and stuff, you know. So I had to park the tractor down there. I'm gonna set it up. I'm gonna run down there. I'm gonna bail down here, and then I'm gonna stop and get the camera, change the angle, get back on. It's just a bunch of stuff, you know. And I'm not complaining. I'm just saying that it's not as easy as you think it is. So, all right, let's see what we can do here. All right, guys, I got the rest of that windrow I'm on and one right here in front of me. But I missed 3 bales here on this last round. I never did get off and look at them, so I don't know what's going on. If it was a problem with the twine or what. There's no problem with that twine. That knot looks pretty. Where the other twine is. There it is. Let's look at this. Ooh. Okay. I'm not sure which end that is, but if you look here, got a purdy loop in one end, the other end's got nothing. Pretty clean cut, a little phrase there, but I'm guessing I got the same thing at that one and the same thing over there. But once it misses, it just misses one, takes right off back off tying. So depending on what end that loop is in will tell us a lot. So the next one I pull out, I need to pay attention to how the string is laying in the pile of hay. And that'll tell us a lot. So okay, we're gonna finish this build, jump over to the one to the north of us. Still got some sunshine left. I think we'll be able to get that done. All right, guys, so we're starting back in the back. We got 428 on the counter. So bail this side of the ditch, and then if we can jump to the other side, we'll try to do that. So we had about 420 in that other field. Roughly, a little over, probably 422, 423. Windrows are pretty big back here, maybe not quite as big as the other field, but here's where we're sitting, 11.4. Well guys, we got the south side of this ditch back here done. Except for these here. This here is what I'm going to round bale, this junk stuff down here. And then the stuff closest to the waterway is going to get round baled. This little triangle piece here is going to get round baled. And then the stuff the far end of that piece there is going to get round baled. But I'm going to jump across here. I'm going to see if I can get this finished baling. We're getting close. We got 584 on the counter. I don't remember exactly how many I had when I came over here. I think it was like 428. So almost 160 right here in this little patch. And there, I don't think there's 2 acres here. 15% in that windrow there. Can't do no more of that. It's tough. Look at how wet the tires are. $16 is what that was. That's all she wrote. We're gonna fold this puppy up, pick the pickup reel up, and head to the house, and I'm gonna start stacking. Oh shoot, I was folding it up. I didn't notice that I had a bale right here. I need to flip that out of there. Should have probably done that before I folded it, but I didn't. Yeah, they're a little heavy. A little heavier. Not terrible. It is dew moisture, so it's not internal to the plant. But you bale that in there, it has a hard time getting out. But we'll be all right. I was spraying a little bit there just because it started getting high there the last, I don't know, 100 foot of that windrow, so I didn't want to just stop in the middle of the windrow, so I put a little bit of preservative on there. Knock some of this chaff off out here because that's fertilizer, so leave it in the field all I can. I don't know if I can get that bale out. I think I can if I let the pressure bleed off a little bit. All right, let's pick up the pickup reel. I'll have to have 2 hands to do that. All right guys, everything's ready to go. Just throwing me some wires on here and get going. Now, I'm not going to get a ton of footage because as thick as this hay is, it's going to be a full-time job trying to do it and be efficient at it. So I'll get a little bit. I'll give you an update each load I dump, which I'm probably only going to get maybe 2 because it's already almost dark. I don't have lights, and I don't want to stack a ton in the middle of the night and trap all that moisture between the bales. They're going to have a little bit on them, but I'm not going to run all through the night because it just gets wetter and wetter as you go, you know. So let's roll. All right, so I have adjusted on the rolling rack. Not adjusted, I fixed, worked on. We actually took the brakes off and put rollers into place. So hopefully it's going to load like a dream. Everything's going to go smooth. This is the first time I've used it this year. First time I've used it since I did all that work to it. So there's the hoping and pushing and looking and something. All right. And first time I'm using my opening through the woods here. Whatever. Capiche. I mean, good. So if you're wondering what I use the wire for, this is it. I put it between the layers. I put it between number 2 and 3, and I put it between 5 and 6. And that makes it to where my stacks stand most of the time. Watch me. Hopefully it won't make a liar out of me. There we go. Seems to be sliding okay so far from what I can tell. We'll tell more as we go when we get more on there. Alright guys, load number 1 of 70 bales. And the rolling rack so far is working 10 times better than it ever has since I've had it. So if it keeps this up, that'll be time and money well spent. Alright guys, the rolling rack worked really well. Stack is standing tall and steady, even, strong. I can't let my load rack down though, because the board actually has a bit of a curl to it, but it's never been this bad. Like, it's not even close to going through there. Usually it is. So I'm not sure what's happened. Maybe it's the way the wagon's sitting. It's got like a twist to it, but I'm getting ready to slide this out because this side's actually in as far as it'll go. So see what happens.